Yes, this is the sixth chapter of our lecture. We will be talking about project team building, basically, which is very important, which is very crucial in the success of the project teams. Because, as you know, projects are different from regular businesses, right? Projects are time limited, so they are done by a team of people, by a team, a group of people, and they will dedicate their time in a limited period. Okay, they don't work forever in a group. This is why in each project there are different people that you need to work with, right? If you are doing lots of projects, so how do you develop a team? How do you build up a team, right? And what kind of problems you may face while you are building up your team, and what kind of strategies that you can um, have to build up good teams, because good teams are very important in the success of projects. So this is your book's definition of how do you assemble a team, a project team normally. So the project, as we learned from last week, there are some project scopes, project definitions, right? The technical details, financial details, human resource, competency details are written in this scope document. And this is why, based on these requirements, okay, from your work breakdown structure, because you know what you do in very detail, in every action, every step that you need to do in a project, you know it, right? Because you go into that detail. You prepared your work breakdown structure. You prepared your project scope document. I think you remember them from last week. So for each of these work breakdown structure, you need to assign somebody. You need to assign somebody competent, somebody has skills and abilities to do that, right? So the first step is identifying these skills required, right, from work breakdown structure. So for each of these activities, what kind of skills are needed, what kind of competencies are needed, and who is the best fit here, okay? And there may be many people in your organization that you can use in your project team, but you want to select the most efficient one. You want to select the most the best fit, right? Best fit among your employees, because it's important. If you don't have a competent worker, employee in your team member, you may face some problems in the future, right? So then you identify the personnel who might be a good fit for that position, for that activity. Okay, if it's a, for example, IT activity, you want to find someone. You need to find someone who knows about this stuff, right? Who knows about computer, who knows about engineering, etc. If it's the sales team, okay, if it's related to marketing, you need to find the related person who have the experience on the sales and marketing. So you identify the skills required from work breakdown structure, and then you move on to the identifying the right personnel and talk to them, explain them to the project, ask them whether they want to be a part of that project, and motivate them, right? Because people are generally motivated again to be a member of good projects, right? And if it's a bad project, if it's a hard project, if it's time consuming, if there is lots of work, they may be hesitant to work in your project as a personnel, right? As a team member. So you need to talk with them first and ask their opinion, whether they want to do that and whether they don't want to do that. And another important step is negotiating with the functional supervisor of that team member. What do we mean by that? As you know, when we talked about, the project team is constitute of the people who have a regular business in their functional areas. For example, you need a marketing people, you need one finance people, you need one engineer, you need one sales people, etc. This kind of thing. But these people have their regular jobs in their functional areas. So it's not appropriate to just ask them and take them into your group. You need to get the approval of their functional managers, functional supervisors, right? I mean, it's a problem that we face. For example, I also faced this kind of a problem. Once upon a time, I think that 4 or 5 years ago, we had a project and we took one of our research assistants into our project, but some of our professors were very angry with us because they said that why didn't you ask our permission to take our research assistant to your project team? Okay, because they see it as a insultancy, right? Because they said that we are their supervisors, we are their upper level managers, kind of a thing, and they need to ask our permission. So you cannot just take some workers, put them into your team. Okay, so you need to negotiate with the supervisor, and they can say yes. Okay, you can use that member into your team. Then you assemble your team. Then you are good. Okay, but sometimes the managers, the supervisors do not want to give up a skillful employee, a good employee. Okay, they may say that I need him. I cannot give him or her to you, to a project team, because I have lots of work to do. I need my engineer, I need my marketing people, I need my sales people. So what would you do then, right? If there's a problem like that, what would you do? How do you solve that problem? So if you really want that person, and you may change the person. Maybe the supervisor offers you another option. Okay, I don't want to give you Muhammad, but you can work with Ijret, for example. But uh, if you don't want to accept this, if you want to still work with Mohammed, maybe you need to negotiate with the top management. Okay, and these are some problematic areas, right? Some the power struggles between different levels of managers, project managers, functional managers, and top managers. And if you have succeeded, you can assemble your team. If you don't have a success here, if you are rejected, so you may ask partial assistance. You may say that, okay, every week, just 2 days, I need the people. I mean, you can use them in your functional operations in the last 3 days. And it could be an option, and the functional manager could accept this. Or you can adjust the project schedule, budget, and other priorities. Maybe you just don't need that person that much, right? Or you just ask top management the consequences. Okay, I need this person very badly. If you don't give it to me, this project will not be a success. This kind of problematic things, conflicts may arise. So this is the how overall the process of building up project team. So each and every member, for each and every member in a project team, you need to go through these steps. You need to convince them and then get the approval of the let's say their managers and then top managers if they don't want to give up their workers. So yes, we build up our team. We convinced all the functional managers, all the members, and we build up our team. So what kind of specialties, what kind of characteristics should a project team have then? Okay. First of all, there must be a clear sense of mission. I mean, by mission, we mean that what we are doing here. What is the core goal of our project? What we produce at the end of the day, okay? Why we are gathered together. In some projects, members doesn't know it, doesn't even realize that, okay, there's a clear mission. I mean, they don't know what they do. They just come to the project teams as a member, but they don't know what the project is about, uh, what kind of goals, objectives, I'm sorry, there are. So, my voice is gone. Yes. So, there also must be a productive interdependency between the project people, okay? So, interdependency refers to the degree of joint activity, okay, among team members. So, it is required in order to complete a project. For example, a project could be completed through the work of a small number of people or one department in an organization. The interdependence needed would be considered low. By interdependence, here we mean the dependence between the functional areas. Maybe for some work, for some activities, you just can handle it within your department, within your team, with yourself. Even you can do it. But in some tasks, you need to the combination, the cooperative work between the engineering department, marketing department, finance department. They need to work together. They need to do the small parts of this activity, and they need to create a solid work out here. So that there is interdependency then in between people, and it becomes more complicated to manage these different kind of people. There must be a cohesiveness between the project team members. They need to respect each other. They need to accept each other. They need to feel they are part of something. Okay, this is why what we call cohesiveness. In Turkish, we call it kaynaşma. There must be trust among the members. It's one problem in general project teams. No one trusts anyone, and everyone tries to compete with other team members. It's very common, and there must be enthusiasm within the group. The goals should be challenging, the supportive, personally rewarded, right? And you have to be result oriented. I mean, the results must be the main point here. So actually, the project teams' effectiveness are depending on these kind of soft things, right? Cohesiveness, trust, enthusiasm. So people want to feel to be something, be part of something. Right? Okay, you will see that. You will see that. I mean, most of you are working in some companies, right? Anyone who doesn't work here?
I am not working. Sorry.
Okay, okay. So, but the rest us are working, right? So, actually, I think you want to work in companies, you want to work in projects that makes you excited, right? You want to do something different. You want to do something impactful to yourself, to your society, to your nature. I mean, you want to change something. I mean, many of the actually new generation workers do something meaningful, want to do something meaningful in their works. They don't want to do some regular, boring, bureaucratic jobs in their businesses, right? In their companies they're working. So this project's actually good opportunities for them. People who are working in projects in addition to their regular jobs actually find that difference, find that additional motivation for them because while you are a part of a project, actually you do something not boring, something not stable, not regular, right? You do something different, and actually employees require that, right? Because it's our something that feeds our self confidence, self awareness, self motivation, right? This is why projects are somehow important, I guess. They give the opportunity to uh, realize your potential, okay, as young workers, young employees. It's important. However, there are sometimes big problems in project teams, okay, very big problems, and we also live these kind of problematic things in our life work experience. For example, there are sometimes the projects build up inter-organizational projects, not within the organization, but the organization. There are more than one organizations in a project. For example, while you are applying a European Union project, or while you are applying a big government project, you go to there with consortiums, with partnerships, with other organizations and institutions. And there are sometimes very big problems within these project teams, especially from between the different institutions. They may have bad intentions to each other. This is why, for example, we have lost a 5 million Turkish lira project because the project team members cannot agree with each other. Two project team members, I don't want to name their institutions, but we did it. So we just lose that amount of big project because they don't like each other. There are two people, two managers who doesn't like each other. They have complained about each other so much that the project funder, the government, they just dismiss the project, okay, at the end of the day. So why these kind of things happen, right? I mean, there may be some different reasons of it, but the main problem, I think, is the team roles, okay? Who will manage the team? Who will be the project manager? This is number one problematic area. Generally, there are more than one candidates to manage a project, okay? They want to control the money, they want to control the people, they want to control the resources. But who will do that? This is a problematic area. The second one, actually, this was the issue in our case also. One institution want to control of the project, the other institution want to control of the project. They cannot give up their insistence, and at the end of the day, we had nothing. So another reason, there could be unclear goals. Okay, unclear goals by means project members does not understand what they are doing. Okay, so if you are developing a new product, everyone need to know, right? We are developing a new cell phone, new smartphone, new computer, new TV, new desk, new something, right? They need to know. But sometimes, especially in service projects, in consultancy projects, maybe the people don't know what they need to do. I mean, there are some finance people here, engineering people here. They don't understand maybe they could not understand the main aim of the organization. They are just too focused on their specific work activity. For example, the finance guy just counting the numbers, or the engineer just making a design. But what would be the end impact of that project? Who will be the aimed? Who will be the beneficiary of the project, etc. These kind of problems, these kind of questions exist, right? Sometimes motivation is very low. There could be lots of reasons of this. Sometimes there are very bad projects where they are very nightmare projects. I mean, you need to work hours and hours. You don't have any vacation. You don't have any time to spend with your family, with your private life. So such a huge project load is very bad. Actually, when I first um, graduated, I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers. Have you heard the company, PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC? Anyone heard it before? Famous auditing companies. The
Yes,
four
so
big,
I
yes.
know.
Okay, do you know? And do you know how the worker conditions there? How do
Yes,
they?
hocam. Too much of my friends got in their job just right like you after they graduated, and they just worked in like 18 hours and
Yes.
go to for example, they call you at 6 o'clock p.m. and tell you that be ready at 5 a.m. We are going to Izmir, this hotel, to
Yes.
check this. And
Exactly.
this was the like not only PVC, but it's like KPMG, the other
Deloitte,
there are
Ernst
lots
and
of
Young.
audience firms that use teenagers like this.
Yes, yes, they are exploiting the people, workers, their workers. Yes,
Actually,
actually, yeah.
my job is like that, was like that when I first started. I was a project assistant
Uh-huh.
and I was awake like 20 hours and we were making conferences for the medical doctors. And I was like waiting for them to come to the hotel, say hi to them, like welcoming to get their rooms and stuff, everything. I was like sleeping like 4 hours a day or something, like maximum. It
So
was
how was your motivation then to the project?
to be like the manager someday, and I become one. So in 3 years, that's why
Yes.
that was my motivation. And now I'm just trying to be more patient and understanding to the assistants. Like that,
You
I don't
continue
want
in
to.
you continue in the same company working?
I'm doing the same job, but I switched my company
Okay, but
as
you
a
are dealing with projects all the time.
yes,
These kind of
yes,
projects.
I'm doing the same job.
Yes, very good. So just be
Thank you.
merciful to your employees, please.
Yeah,
To
I'm trying to.
yes, yes, yes. Unfortunately, there are some ugly facts in the working environment. No one would look at you as and mercy you. They just want you to do the job done. But it's really demotivating. I mean, I left the company within 1 year. Most of my friends also did it. Actually, someone who gets patience as Ece did, they become managers at companies if they can have a patience for 5 years. But it's something very un, mm, unmotivating, demotivating. I mean, because for example, it's 8 in the night. I mean, you want to go to home, get some rest. You want to ask for a permission. They are looking at you. Where are you going? Do you want to? I mean, they look at you. You are stealing the job time, but actually they are making you work lots of time more without paying you regularly. There are some these kind of problems, right? And most of the people, most of the workers actually make mistakes because of this. Because when you put so much extra time on people, actually there are some scientific research on that. For example, for each and every hour that you work, you have a productivity rate, right? For example, if you just make it very simple, we said that you are producing some uh, glasses, okay? You are producing these glasses, and let's say if you work 1 hour, you produce one glass, okay? So there are some studies looking at that. After a while, for example, 8 hours a day, okay, you reach your maximum. Let's say in 8 hours, you reach 10 glasses, 10 cups, okay, of production. But when you make extra time, okay, when you make extra time, your productivity actually decreases. I mean, you spend more time in your company, but your productivity rate is decreasing. Normally, for 1 hour, you need to produce one glass, but when you work for extra time, your productivity goes down. Maybe in 2 hours, you produce one glasses. So these studies suggest that don't. It is not reasonable to put so much work burden on people. Okay, just maybe send them home, make them permit them to have a rest, and then when they come back the other day, they will work more motivated. There are some studies like that. Plus, communication, leadership is very important. In my experience, I remember that with some managers, I'd like to work with, and a lot. I love them. I respected them, and they also respected me. They covered me. They don't sell me out to other people, to top managers, for example. When I make a mistake, they accept that mistake and they don't tell it to their top managers. Okay, Semih did the mistake. They said, okay, we handle it. We solve the problem. Don't worry. But there are some other kind of managers who are always complaining, who are always dictating you. Okay, where are you? Why are you late? Why did not do that? This kind of some people, actually, this kind of poor communication demotivates you as well. This is another reason why teams fail. Turnover among project team members, we mentioned about that. Many of my friends just run away from the company because of these working conditions. Dysfunctional behavior. There could be mobbing, there could be very harassments because you are working like 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours a day in a company, and people's psychology are not okay. Okay, it's really damaged. So a good project team should consider this. They need to have a clear goal. They need to define the team roles. They need to motivate people. They need to have a good leadership, good communication, and good working conditions in that project team. So there is a theory about stage of group development. Actually, maybe I think you know this from your previous classes. They call it forming, storming, norming, and performing and enduring. Let's look at this. This is something like that. So this is trust building and maintenance cycle in a project team. Okay. In the forming stage, partners come together. It's a honeymoon period for the partnership because the team members and partners are excited about the newness of the project. They are very excited. Okay. While we start a project, everyone is excited. Everyone says, we will do that, we will handle it, it's very easy, we overcome that problem. So we get to know each other, we are very good, we are friends, we are a family, this kind of a starting. Okay? But when time comes, it becomes more stormy, right? The climate changes. So because the members face some problems, okay, during the project, very naturally, there are some problematic things, and they begin to uh, try to find some guilty people, okay? They are not polite anymore. There are struggles between people, between partners, there are problems. So this kind of storming stage exists. And then you move on the norming stage, when these conflicts are somehow sorted out and the partnership focus on their work. And then you perform the job. So this is representation of project teams. You can see another develop representation of it here. So inclusion, control, cooperation, and productivity. Okay, this is one another punctuate equilibrium representation of it. They say that the team performance when it at the start is in the first meeting is low, and it's acceptable because they are just first moving each other. However, somewhere in the midpoint of the project timeline, there's a problem. There's a big conflict within the team members. Okay, because this is because as in the storming state where there is a conflict, confrontations, and alienation, where there's a low morale among the members, there are problems that you face. So it's very important how do you solve that problems as project team leader and project team members. Okay, if the leader is a good manager, good leader, project manager is a good leader, he can sort out these problems. He can make small changes. He can be flexible. He can talk to the team members, convince them. He can find solutions because project management is a really unexpected thing. Okay, there are uncertainties. I mean, nothing goes like on the paper, right, Ece? I mean, you have more experience than me, maybe, about
Yes,
projects.
a lot of going on.
Yes, a lot of going on, right? Because you design a project, you expect that something should go in some way, but it never does, right? There are always problems. There are always some issues that you need to solve. So this is about the project management mostly. If you can overcome these problems, then you can manage the project better. For example, uh, when I was first a research assistant, I had a professor we make project with. He had a saying, I always remember that, and now I also think that while I am managing a project, he said that I don't go into any project activity that I cannot do it myself. Okay, he solved it like that. Okay, he said that if I couldn't make it down to this job to project partners. For example, there are 6 partners from different countries and there are many team members. So there is a job needed to be done. And unexpectedly, some of the members didn't do that. I mean, they become, it becomes that they are not working. They are lazy people. They are really problematic areas with you and you have conflict. At the end of the day, he said, I do it myself, okay? It's better for me. I do it myself because I have the trust. I don't go on project by trusting others. For example, if you trust that person so badly, and if you don't know how to do that part with yourself, with your team, in your institution, it's very problematic for you because if you left the project, what would you do, right? So he kind of solved that problem like that. I mean, if there's a problem, I solve it myself. I mean, it's an option, but it's not a feasible option in the long run, right? If you try to solve all the problems by yourself, I mean, it's impossible and it's not feasible. So why do you need other team members then? So this is somehow a problematic thing, but it's related to the managerial, how can I say, competencies. Yes. So cross-functional cooperation. How do we assure that different functions in our businesses can all cooperate successfully in projects? First of all, there's a definition which is called superordinate goals, which means that a goal have sub-objectives, sub-dimensions that is related to more than one functions. Okay, for example, there is a goal in the project. This goal must be met by the finance department, sales department, and engineering department together. Okay, there are some goals, regular goals, for just marketing department, for just sales department, for just logistics department, for example. These are not normal goals, but superordinate goals. There must be more than one, let's say, functional functions that need to realize that goal. So you can in cross-functional cooperation, these kind of goals are very important. They have to work together. They must work together. There are rules and procedures for the project. Clearly, you need to provide it to the functions, departments. Physical proximity is very important. I mean, imagine that your finance department is somewhere very far away from your factory. Okay, how do you work with them? So physically, you need to get closer, right, as a project team. Or your sales department is in Istanbul, and your law department is in Ankara. Your another department is in another city. There are different factories, there are different stores that you have, and you want to build up a team physically distant. And how can you manage this, right? It could be problematic. Accessibility is also related to that. People, if the people can have an access to each other, right? Yes. Building high performing teams. How do you succeed that? How do you can build high performing teams? First of all, you need to make the project team tangible. So publicity, terminology, language. Tangible means everything should be clear, should be written, well written. For example, I may say that, okay, I did this, but because I understand it like that, project, there's no definition, clear definition, and I understand this activity like that. But manager could say that this is not like that. I didn't want that. I want something very different. How come you make this decision yourself, right? If there is no tangibility about the terminology, language, the scope of the project, there may be some misunderstanding between project team members. Okay, everything must be written clearly. What is expected? What is as an outcome? What expected from the partners? The second one, reward good behavior. You need to reward the successful team members. You need to motivate them. The ones who work more should be paid more, right? The ones who create good solutions to your problems, they should be rewarded. And also you need to develop a personal touch, like providing positive feedback for good performance, leading by being an example to them. As a leader, you need to be an example. For example, it's like that telling your children to not to smoke, but you are smoking, right? It's not like that. In the project team, you also need to do it yourself first. You need to work hard yourself first, and then ask your team members to work hard as well. For example, is your project when your project leaders leave the company at 5 o'clock and but wants you to do overtime? I mean, it's not that a meaningful thing, right? They need to be there with you, work with you, overtime, make overtime with you, for example. Another one, I think this one, virtual project teams now is very common because of the pandemic and because of the Zoom and the other kind of Microsoft Teams technologies. I think many of the companies do their team jobs on these virtual project teams. I mean, we said that there are physical proximity is an important issue, but I think in the future it will not be because I had a project now I am working in recently. Actually, we didn't come together with the project team members together even for one time because of the pandemic. We are always meeting on the Zoom. We are always discussing our results, our progress on the Zoom, and we are working virtually. Okay, we didn't come together because of pandemic. I mean, if it's a normal project, normal time, I mean, we would be meeting every week, we would be meeting every month physically. But I think the technology and because of the coronavirus impact, this would push the project to go to virtual. I mean, it's the future of the project management. I mean, maybe there must be some specific lectures for that, how to manage a project virtually, right? Because it's very different. I mean, it seems very easy. It seems very doable, right? Accessible, flexible. I mean, now I'm in my bedroom talking about you about my lecture, right? It's very easy. No one needed to go to the school, take the car, take the bus, so consume anything. We can come together and make our lecture. So it exists for the project teams as well. I mean, every meeting means some cost for the company as well. For example, think about that you're a company in Istanbul and you need to go to a project meeting. I mean, at least 2 of your working hours will be spent on the traffic, right? Why do you need that? I mean, just make a half an hour project team meeting on Zoom and then continue your work. You don't even need to change your place, right? So actually, it's very cost friendly, environmental friendly. However, there are some problematic issues about virtual teams as well. I believe that, I mean, I think all of you are listening to me right now, but in my other lectures, in my other undergraduate lectures, many of the students, for example, just open the lecture and go away. They don't listen. They just do something else. I don't know, watch some soap opera, Netflix, or talking to their friends or doing something else, right? If you cannot control that, it exists. It's also happening in the project team meetings as well. I mean, someone is talking, but I mean, you cannot focus. You cannot have a how can I say focus on the team meeting virtually. It's very hard because we are on the top of a computer. There's a screen here, and looking at a screen and focusing is not easy. Okay, I don't know. There are some scientific studies. Why do we have focusing problems like that? But it's an interesting area. I mean, and I suggest you, if you are interested, to work on this in your master thesis, maybe. I mean, good area. Yes.
Hocam,
Yes.
virtual project teams also includes the accessibility. Am I right? Because before the COVID-19, if we need a meeting and a company from the Istanbul or any other city, we should go to the Istanbul or other city. But right now we can use Microsoft Zoom and Microsoft Teams or Zoom, another platform.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. This is a huge advantage, Umeira. And I think that in the future, the companies would not give up that, even if the pandemic goes away. I mean, because it's cost, it means cost. For example, you are working in, let's say, Coca-Cola. You are working in Coca-Cola Ankara. Another team is Coca-Cola Istanbul. You have to come together for a project meeting. I mean,
In real world, I
yes.
work with Coca-Cola,
Really?
global company. It's Atlanta,
Uh-huh.
but it's so easy
Yes, you
from
said
the
that. Yes, you
Microsoft
mentioned
Teams.
that.
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot it. Yes. So imagine the opportunities that the virtual meetings that gives to you, right? It's very interesting and very promising. I mean, because no one wants to buy tickets, no one wants to buy hotel reservations, right? You just have an internet access. It's okay. I mean, just go into the internet, talk with the people, do your job. Okay.
By
This
the
is
way,
yes.
maybe we can say that we don't need to accessibility.
Actually,
Itself?
it depends. I mean, sometimes accessibility. I mean, I think what you mean is physical accessibility, right?
Yes,
Sometimes
yes, hocam.
accessibility means that also the project leader, open door policies, how do they communicate with them? If you can communicate with the project function, the departments, this is what accessibility means actually. But what you mean, physically being together is necessary or not? In some projects, actually, you do need that. But in some projects, you do not. I mean, most of the projects, maybe you do not. And I think in the future, many of the projects will be controlled like that by Zoom.
Okay, hocam.
Yes, it's very less expensive than the regular ones. But the important thing is, what about the performance of the projects? Okay, if there is a performance difference between, for example, think about that there are identical two projects. Okay, project A and project B. Project A team members are getting together, coming together physically. Project B members coming together virtually. Okay, so which one is would be successful? Would be more successful? Would provide more performance? Okay, I think it's a good research question to go on to work on.
Yes. Yes, I noted that, hocam.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't read the literature, by the way. I just come to my mind, but in the literature, I think there are lots of studies recently about the Zoom and the project's impact on the project meetings. I don't know. Let's look at that. Yes, conflict management. What do we have? Okay, this is the last thing. The conflict is something inevitable, guys. Okay, in any project team, there are small or big conflicts between project team members, between partners. How do you solve that? Sometimes the conflict is because of the goals. I mean, I may say that this project should have different goals. I don't accept it, this goals that you name here. Okay, this could be one. Sometimes the conflict is because of administrative stuff, bureaucratic stuff. I don't like the way of your management, maybe, right? I mean, and sometimes it could be interpersonal. I don't like you. I had a history with you. I don't like you. This is why I create some problems. So how do you solve this conflicts? This is important. This is a managerial skill to solve these problems. Nice. Sources of conflicts could be also organizational. There could be some problems about reward systems. For example, everyone is working, but some people are getting paid well, some people are not getting paid well. Okay? This is a problem. The workers, team members do not like that. Maybe there are some uncertainty and about the goals of the project, about the expectancy of the projects. There could be some scarce resources. You want to do the project, but you need, for example, an engineer. But in your company, there are only a few engineers, and they have regular jobs. So you don't have anyone to work for your project. It's a problem. So there are conflicts with you, project manager, and the functional department manager. And also interpersonally, faulty communications, attributions, prejudices, grudges, these kind of personal things also could create problems, guys. How do you resolve these conflicts? First of all, mediate it. Calm down, people. Okay, we are in the same team. We are working for the same goal. Calm down. It's the project manager's jobs. You arbitrate it. You judge between them. Okay. Okay. Who is right? I want to listen up. Okay. You are right in that respect. You are right in that respect. I think you can understand each other. Then control, cool down the problems, and sometimes you accept that the conflict is unmanageable, and maybe you want to change the people, change the team members, putting them in different projects. Okay, you have so much problems. I don't want to force you to work it together. This kind of problems occur, but remember that conflict is often evidence of progress. If there is no conflict in a project process, it means that there is something wrong. It means that you are doing nothing. Okay, if you do nothing, if there is no progress in your project, no one will have a conflict with each other. But when you ask some job to be done from your people, project team members, there are some conflicts. Some people say that, okay, I am working more. These people should have done that. This is their responsibility. This is not my responsibility. This kind of complaints you start to hear about that. But then there is no job assigned to no one. in the beginning of the project, there is no problem, right? So conflict is sometimes a good evidence of progress. Negotiation is a process that's managed by the project manager, and he used his influence and solve the problem. Okay, but the negotiation must be managed by someone who is powerful, right? Someone who is trusted by both members, both conflicting members. And time pressure also. I mean, for example, if there's a time limit, time deadline for your project, I mean, you need to solve it very quickly. Like you need to find a problem. But if there's more time, maybe you can think on more. You can find different solutions. So, first of all, you need to separate the people from the problem. Don't take people, don't confront them, don't insult them, don't make it personalized, okay? Just focus on the problem. Do not insult any people, do not blame them, okay? So, focus on interests, common goals, okay? Say that, okay, hey, we are a team. We are focusing on. We are working for the common goodness for here, right? We all will win at the end of the day. Focus on that, not on positions. Not say that I am the manager of you. You will do what I say. I have a higher position of you. Don't try to use your authority in a coercive manner. As I said, invent options for mutual gain. Okay, we can solve the problems. Okay, let's do it in that way. You will be happy. You will be happy. Both of you will be happy, right? And insist on using objective criteria, which is very important. Okay, if you are objective, no one can tell you anything. Okay, if there's, I mean, I think we experience it a lot in our everyday life. It's create a very unfair and unjust environment, right? For example, let's say that I am giving up a lecture and I am a lecturer. I have set some rules. I have said that, okay, if you have done these in my syllabus, I write that you will get these points, and you did all of these things regularly, and you put some effort to get that points, right? But some other friends, he didn't show up in any lectures, let's say, and he came to me at the end of the semester. He begged, okay, I was working like that. This is the problems I had faced. I couldn't make it, and I give them the points anyway. So how would you feel in that such a position as a student who did all of the responsibilities, who struggled, who put much effort to get that point, right? I mean, I think you face these kind of situations, right? Sometimes. So it's actually happening in the work life a lot. I mean, for example, we are two assistants started to work together at the same time. I am working very hard. The other one is very lazy. So we are paid equally, and there is no difference in our salaries, for example. There is no difference in our promotions. There is no difference in our things. And because of I am working a lot, the managers want to work me, and my workload is going up. The other person is lazy. No one wants to work with him, and he is doing a less job than me, but getting the equal payment. Another objective criteria. Okay, I mean you need to be very how can I say it, careful about, okay, setting up objective criteria and following them as a project leader. You give the message to your project team members, okay, I behave equally to you, okay, if you do this you will get this, if you don't do this you don't get this, okay. But if you make some exceptions, if you make some let's say problematic decisions, if you just give someone extra thing without any reason, it really damages the motivation of the project team. Yes, this is the end of my presentation today, guys. Thank you. Any questions do you have?
Thank you, sir.
I thank you.
Thank you hocam. Thank you hocam.